What happens when the most powerful military institution in the world moves quietly, without headlines, without ceremony, and without wanting anyone to look too closely? What does it mean when aircraft fly without official acknowledgement? When troops rotate into regions already thick with tension? And when budgets swell in corners of spreadsheets few people ever read? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all: if a deployment was never meant to be public, how would the public ever know? There are moments in history when the absence of information speaks louder than any press conference. The deployment the Pentagon didn't want public was not announced with triumphant speeches or patriotic music. It was not framed as a historic turning point. Instead, it appeared as a logistical footnote, buried in procurement updates and obscure flight tracking data. Yet beneath that quiet surface lay a complex web of strategy, fear, diplomacy, and raw power. To understand why a deployment would be kept low profile, one must first understand the delicate ecosystem in which modern military power operates. In the 21st century, wars are rarely declared in the traditional sense. Instead, they unfold in shadows: special operations missions, advisory roles, intelligence partnerships, cyber operations, and temporary rotations that stretch indefinitely. Official language avoids words like invasion or even occupation. Instead, phrases such as force posture adjustment or stability operations dominate the narrative. Why? Because language shapes perception, and perception shapes political survival. The deployment in question began as a quiet buildup. Satellite imagery enthusiasts noticed unusual cargo aircraft landing at a remote base that had seen little activity in years. Naval analysts observed a carrier strike group rerouted without explanation. Contractors received accelerated orders for equipment configured not for training exercises, but for sustained operations. Individually, each signal could be dismissed. Together, they formed a pattern too deliberate to ignore. Behind closed doors, the reasoning was straightforward but fraught. Intelligence assessments had shifted dramatically. A regional power was testing boundaries, probing airspace, mobilizing troops near a contested border, conducting aggressive cyber campaigns. Diplomatic talks were ongoing, but confidence in their success was thinning. Publicly announcing a major deployment could have triggered escalation. It might have humiliated the opposing government, boxed them into a corner, or sparked panic in global markets. Quiet movement, planners argued, would provide leverage without spectacle. But was it leverage? Or was it preparation for something far more consequential? Why does secrecy matter so much in a democracy? The United States prides itself on civilian oversight of the military. Congress holds the power of the purse. The public theoretically holds the power of the vote. Yet in practice, rapid deployments can occur within executive authority, especially if framed as protective or temporary. By the time the scope becomes clear, the machinery is already in motion. Was this an example of strategic necessity or democratic drift? For service members involved, the lack of public acknowledgement carried its own weight. Families were told little. Social media posts were discouraged. The usual rituals of departure, community send-offs, local news coverage were absent. Instead, there was a quiet boarding of aircraft in the early hours before dawn. They knew the risks. They understood the stakes. But they also sensed that this mission existed in a gray zone, neither fully secret nor fully admitted. On the ground in the host region, the deployment altered the psychological landscape. Local allies felt reassured but cautious. After all, foreign troops bring protection and attention. Adversaries recalibrated. Surveillance flights increased. Naval patrols edged closer. The chessboard grew more crowded. And yet, official statements remained measured, almost bland. "We remain committed to regional stability," spokespeople repeated. Stability, a word that often masks turbulence beneath. Yet secrecy breeds suspicion. Investigative journalists began connecting dots. Independent analysts published flight logs and shipping manifests. Online forums buzzed with speculation. When questioned directly, officials neither confirmed nor denied specifics. The ambiguity fueled more curiosity. If this was routine, why not say so plainly? If it was extraordinary, why not explain the necessity? Historically, the Pentagon has balanced openness with operational security. During the Gulf War, troop buildups were widely reported. During the Iraq surge, debates were public and fierce. But in the era of counterterrorism and great power competition, the lines have blurred. Operations often fall below the threshold of declared war, but above the threshold of peace. In that murky middle ground, deployments can expand with limited fanfare. Critics argue that such opacity undermines democratic accountability. They contend that citizens deserve to know where their forces are positioned and why. Supporters counter that modern threats evolve too quickly for prolonged public deliberation. In a cyber attack scenario, for example, response times are measured in minutes, not months. Does the pace of modern conflict necessitate a quieter approach, or does it erode foundational principles? As weeks passed, subtle acknowledgments emerged. A senior defense official referenced heightened readiness during a hearing. A budget amendment hinted at emergency infrastructure upgrades abroad. Still, no formal announcement matched the scale observers had pieced together. It was as if the deployment existed in a parallel narrative, visible to those looking closely, invisible to casual observers. There is also the human dimension rarely captured in strategic analysis. The young officer coordinating logistics in a converted warehouse. The intelligence analyst tracking satellite feeds at odd hours. The pilot flying supply missions across contested airspace. They operate within policy decisions shaped by layers of political calculation. For them, the debate over transparency versus secrecy is abstract compared to the immediacy of their tasks. The story of this deployment is not just about troops and hardware. It is about perception, timing, and the calculus of risk. It is about leaders weighing the consequences of visibility against the dangers of silence. It is about a military navigating a world where every move is scrutinized, yet not always fully explained. The Pentagon may not have wanted this deployment public, but in the end, secrecy was relative. The outlines emerged, the debates followed, and the questions remain. How many similar movements occur beyond headlines? How should a democracy balance speed and scrutiny? And when the next quiet surge begins, will we recognize it for what it is, or only understand it after the fact? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.